Hey, good evening. It's Tuesday, February 21st, and welcome to my channel, Everyday Talk 24/7. You can see Echo in the background, so she looks like she's going to join us tonight. Tonight, I'm going to talk about something that we all talk about, and I'm a little surprised I actually haven't addressed it specifically before now, but the topic is God and your past. This is something that is discussed, written about, thought about, people have therapy about, they have upset about it, some are happy, some are sad. But I want to try and get a biblical handle on how we can think about our past. And this is probably going to be at least 3 parts, maybe more, but at least 3. And tonight I'm just going to start with a very simple premise about God and your past. And this is that Jesus is Lord of your past. Jesus is Lord of your past. Very simple statement, but there's ample biblical support for it. And that's the bedrock of everything else I want to talk about in the future videos. In Hebrews 13, we have this, verse 8. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. That means Jesus is consistent. He's always been the same powerful Son of God. That means the Trinity has always been the same powerful, beautiful, wonderful Trinity. Now, what that means in particular, John helps us out at the beginning of his gospel. In the first 4 verses, we read this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Speaking of Jesus Christ. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, this is the part I want to stress, through him all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. Through him all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. Jesus is a part, the Lord of your past. It's not random. There's nothing about the past that is just a roll of the dice. We've been influenced a little bit too much by evolutionary thinking. Even if we don't buy into evolution, we kind of adopt that mindset. We don't really see God as being intimately involved in our past. But what this passage is saying, what John is teaching us, is that Jesus is involved. Nothing was made without him, without his plan, without his purpose to bring honor to his Father. And with regard to humans then, that means nothing is random, including where we are now and where we live and when we live. And that's spelled out specifically in Acts 17, where Paul is speaking to the scholars there at the Areopagus in Athens, the smartest people in that part of the world. And Paul is telling them about God. And this is how he tells them about what God did. From one man, Acts 17, verse 26, from one man he has made every nation, every nationality to live on the whole earth, and has determined their appointed times and the boundaries of where they live. Another translation says it in the exact places where they live. So this lordship of Jesus over the past includes where every person has been, where they were born, when they were born, and when they live. That's lordship of the past. Nothing in all creation is random chance. It's not happenstance. It's not by evolutionary process. It's not by behavioristic determinism. It's not even about stupid people. And we're going to talk about that kind of thing starting tomorrow. But right now we need to get the boundaries down, squared away. What is the Bible saying? Nothing in all creation is random chance. Not people, not when they lived, nor where they lived. Well, why did he do this? Well, the next line in Acts 17 says this: He did this so that they might seek God, and perhaps they might reach out and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. See, God is concerned about bringing a people out to himself. And every person that has been born has a role to play in other folks coming to Christ, even if they don't come themselves. Everything is orchestrated by God so that people would reach out to him. If you take a look at 1st and 2nd Peter 3, we see that what's being taught there in that chapter is that the only reason tomorrow comes is because God has more people that he wants to save. And when he's done saving the people he wants to save, this place is going to end, and the new heavens and the new earth will come. So God is very purposeful, very determined, very direct about what he's doing. That's what these passages tell us in Acts and in John and in Hebrews. Let me state it again. Your past is not random. Jesus is Lord of your past. He's intentional. Even if it doesn't make sense to us, it's intentional. Where you have lived, your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, your siblings, God has placed all these people in the exact places, in the exact time, so that you and I would be here. We are not the product of randomness. I'm here through all the amazing things that brought about the relationship with my parents, that brought them to where they are. God is purposeful. I grew up in Miami, Florida. My wife, Ruth, she grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. And we met in Pennsylvania. All that would look very random, except that God has had a particular purpose and plan for each part of it for our lives. So we are not the result of an evolutionary random process. And this is where I want to start. This is the basis of understanding the past. Jesus is Lord of the past. There are no random events. That's what the Bible teaches. So before we start evaluating the past and trying to figure it all out and its impact, which we, Lord willing, will attempt to do the next couple of nights, we have this bedrock. God is Lord of the past. Jesus is Lord of the past. And he has the same purpose when our parents and great-parents, great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents and people way back in the whole ancestry change, all the way back to Adam. This is mind-blowing. All 8 billion of us who are on the planet right now are here because God has a particular purpose to draw some people to himself and to bring honor to his name. It's not random. And that's the thought for this night. I love your comments, your thoughts, your feedback on this, because this is an important area, because this is an area that we think a lot about. We talk a lot about. And the Bible has plenty to say about it that I think can enrich our lives. But again, tonight, this first bedrock we want to deal with, talking about God in your past, that Jesus is Lord of the past. And believe it or not, that can bring great comfort and balance to our lives. And that's the thought for this night. Check us out, everydaytalk247.com. If you haven't subscribed, turn on post notifications. These videos will come right to you. Just love your comments and feedback. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow when we'll continue talking about the past. And we'll start talking about what happens when your past has been painful. Thanks so much for being here. Good night.